Hi, I'm Jake Burkett from Grey Alien Games, and this is Secrets of Game Design #1, which may turn into a series, who knows. So I've been an indie game developer for 20 years full time, and I've been making games for 40 years since I was a kid. And, I design games, program games, sell games, do the whole sort of thing really. Tend to hire in contractors for art and music though, unless it's like a game jam. So what I'm going to do today is play a game called Batty, which is on itch.io. It's a free remake of a game from 1987 by Elite. It's by a chap called Steve Watson, who's actually made quite a lot of retro games, which I might dig into a bit more later because, well, they're like retro remakes, and I'm kind of interested in that idea myself. Now, I'm going to discuss the game from a game design point of view, and I might talk about positives and some negatives. I hope if Steve sees this video, I'm not going to send it to him because I wouldn't necessarily want unsolicited design feedback on my game, but if he ever sees this video, I hope you don't mind the spirit in which I'm offering my opinions, which is all they are, about some of the aspects of the game. But firstly, I want to thank Steve for making this game, because making cool retro inspired games and giving them away for free on itch.io is pretty awesome. And apparently this game has got the original 15 Spectrum levels and another 64 from the Commodore 64, how appropriate. So I'm going to run the game without further ado. I've just got to go over here. Okay, running the game. So the first thing is it's got this kind of old school splash screen, which is kind of cool. And that's the name of his company, Spacetime Games, or if it's a company, whatever, game creation studio. And I'm not sure whether that sound effect is from an actual old TV channel. It does sound like one, and there's a similar one when you exit the game. I did play this yesterday. I don't know whether that's in the public domain or what, Steve, but hopefully. That's a cool logo. It looks kind of retro with the Amiga style copper effect. So the first thing about this game is you can do keyboard or joystick. I'm going to play with keyboard. It says push key to select control or start game. I mean, I was a bit confused by this menu, admittedly, and I was pressing #1 and it wasn't starting the game, and I pressed space, I pressed shift, I pressed control, I pressed lots of stuff, and nothing happened. And that's because you need to press 3 to do the original game. If I press 4, I can actually see a whole load of levels here. So Spectrum levels, then Commodore 64, so you can do whatever. It says escape or exit, I'll press escape. So yeah, I have to press 3 to start the game. And one of the things that wasn't obvious, because it didn't say it anywhere, and it's not a redefine keys option, which would have been nice, a lot of old games have that, is the ability to tell me what the keys are. So like basically shift releases the ball, so shift is fire, and I try a lot of different keys before settling on that, and these are arrow keys to move around. So in case you haven't seen this type of game, I'm sure you must have. People call them breakout clones, Arkanoid clones. The first one I played was probably when I was about 5 or 6, and some people we were sharing, my parents were sharing a house with, had a Beanatone TV Master 4, I think, which had 4 Pong-like games on it, and I tried that, and that's the first video game I ever played. I played it for a bit, but I think it was too hard. You had to twiddle these little dials, and I don't think I was that good. Then later on I played Through the Wall, which was on the Spectrum, and it came with I'm going to start playing the game. It came with a tape that came with my Spectrum with a load of sort of programs made in BASIC, and you could actually hack into that game. And one of the things I did, because I was learning to code age sort of 8, 9, was make the bat as wide as the entire screen so you could never miss the ball. Also, that old version had a flaw where sometimes, because you could only hit the ball vertically or at 45 degrees, you could get in a pattern where you couldn't remove the last brick, which was a bit frustrating. And when it's in BASIC, you could code your own level design. Okay, I got that power up. So anyway, yeah, and then I played Arkanoid and loads of other stuff. Some ones made in the year 2000s called Bricks of Egypt and Atlantis I quite liked. Oh, an old Commodore 64 side-on one called, hang on a minute, I've made notes on what it was called. Oh dear, I died. What was that one called? Krakow. It was sideways on the Commodore 64. And I actually made my own sideways one for the Amiga. Never released it, and I might go back to it one day. So, oh, can I get that? That's cool. What did it do? It jetted me to the next level, I guess. Okay, that's interesting. I got to this level yesterday and basically the enemies appear. I don't know what that thing does in the middle. It just says off, bounce. Maybe it means when it's off you can get through the black bricks, because normally they look... No, that's not the case. Basically they seem invulnerable. Oh, okay, I died. Yeah, and I'm trying to play a game that I'm not that good at and talk at the same time, so I'm going to die a lot. So let's talk about the game design a bit. Yeah, managed to shoot through that enemy. So, yeah, oh, one thing, I'm actually going to go back a level, I think. No, I'll stay here, one aspect that I was noting about the games that when I played it was it's got quite busy sides, and I don't just mean just the graphics, but it's got like this static thing at the top which sometimes has text appearing in it and other flashing elements, and I guess it's going on in my peripheral vision and it's a little bit distracting to me from the actual main gameplay. So I'm not sure I would have personally done that, or I'd have an option to turn it off, but I mean that's a bit of a weird option to have in the game. But so that's one thing. I think you want to keep your players focused on the stuff they need to be focused on, and we've had this thing in even our casual games where when you power up one of your special abilities it glows and it's in the sort of corner of the screen, and some players have asked to switch that off because they find it too distracting when playing. Now it's pretty subtle, it's nothing like this static going on up there, but even so some players want it switched off. So that's worth having to think about. I mean, why do we glow it? Because we wanted players to notice it was charged up and to use it, because some beginner players forget about it. Okay, so I've died. I'll try again a bit more seriously and we can talk a bit more about the game design. So I have to press 3 to start the game. One thing, yeah, I'm noticing it now. Maybe it's only on the second play. The frame rate is off, isn't it? 60 FPS. Something's weird happening with the ball, but it was better on the first playthrough a minute ago. So I don't know if there's a bug there. Maybe it's a click team issue, which I believe this is coded in. It does make it harder to play. And of course, back in the day on Commodore 64, stuff like Arkanoid, I believe, ran at full 50 FPS on my TV, right? So you want a decent frame rate for a game like this, and on a modern PC this sort of, air quotes, no excuse, but it could be a bug in Click Team or the code, because it was smooth a minute ago. So another thing I noticed about this gameplay is, oh, by the way, the music's good, really good, and it looks nice, and I'm definitely enjoying that. Slow, I got the slow down the ball, that's useful. Sometimes when I hit, oh, it's sped up already, it didn't last long. Sometimes when I hit a brick in a corner, it actually destroys 2 bricks, but like one that I'm not really touching. Oh, I'm on the second level again. And that infers to me that the collision detection is done with sprites. I could be wrong, but I feel like they've tested the ball against a couple of bricks and said, oh yeah, it's touching these 2, delete these 2, which is a way to do it. But really, I think what you're supposed to do with bat and ball games is actually do the maths. So you say the ball is here, it's going at this speed. In a minute, using maths, it will intersect this brick or this brick, and then you delete the appropriate brick. And that should lead to a sort of more accurate vibe for the game, and then you can even calculate how much to bounce it off and everything else. So one thing that can happen in this is the ball can actually kind of go right into the bat before it appears to bounce off. Oh look, the frame rate's improved again. So it's definitely something weird going on there. Yeah, and obviously one vital thing for all bat and ball games is you can choose your angle where you put the bats. So like in the middle of the bat should go vertical-ish, I hope. Oops. And the side of the bat more sideways. Though it's weird, it flies off left first if it's on the right side of the bat. Don't know, let's see what happens there. Yeah, that makes sense. So you notice that these power-ups fall down, and what's good about them is they are different shapes. so that you can identify and learn them. I haven't really learned them yet. Sometimes they've got words on, I'm not sure, like that's 5,000 the score one had. Some games in the past used to have different coloured gems for power-ups, but you'd have to learn what the colour meant, which is harder than learning what a shape means. Now, a minute ago when I was playing, I actually managed to get quite a lot of power-ups, maybe because I'm getting better at the game, but when I first played it, I could hardly get any of them because they fall down a little bit too fast, in my opinion. And that might be for balancing so that the player doesn't pick up too many or something, or it might be unintentional. And in terms of balancing, you've got a choice really. You can either make things appear less frequently if you don't want the player to pick them up as much, or you make them harder to pick up. Now, really you want power-ups to feel rewarding, and you want players to feel good about getting them. You only really want them to miss them if they're totally on the opposite side of the screen or there's an enemy in the way. So I would personally make the power-ups easy to pick up. So a thing happened then, which again is a bit of an issue when you've got enemies shooting, which this one obviously did. I'm going to do stage select. I'll pick another stage. Let's try this one. Is that the one? Actually, these ones don't even look like the levels I was just on. Are they? I'll just check this a minute. Shift. Oh yeah, that is the same. So one little thing here, I press escape. It doesn't come up with an in-game menu, and I got caught out by that before trying to pause. It just quit my game. Yeah, what happened a minute ago is I died, and it was because an enemy bullet was coming down right where my bat should be, and I'm not sure if you can avoid that. Do you know what I mean? It's like maybe from planning ahead perfectly or whatever. So that's essentially a sort of random death, which doesn't feel great to a player, but not sure how to mitigate that really, except for not having the enemies shoot down, right? Also, there's two types of enemies. This one here, which the ball goes through, which is a bit of a relief, because when balls bounce off of enemies, it can be a bit of a pain because it messes up the trajectory when they're very close to you. Also, this enemy doesn't damage you when it hits the bat, which I've seen in some other games. Okay, teleport to next level. Let's have a look at this, see what this level is like. Yes, there's a lot of different backgrounds and variety. It's got a certain vibe to it, maybe from the Spectrum vibe with these sort of primary and secondary colours. I haven't actually played the original, so I don't know what that looked like. I think I might prefer the aesthetic of Arkanoid, although that had very busy backgrounds. You know, this is quite, I want to use the word garish, but I don't want to be rude about it, but if you know what I mean. But it does look quite nice. I played things on the Amiga like Amigas or Crystal Hammer. They look really nice. They're sort of favourite games of mine. Yeah, there's something about the way the ball moves. It sometimes feels a bit soft, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's down to the sound effects or this collision I'm talking about, like how the ball can sort of go into a brick. I've definitely had other games where it feels much more brittle. And also, I mean, I did design one of these for the Amiga years ago, but I never got into the weeds of the design. And it might be a case where if you just code it mathematically to bounce off everything, it sometimes feels unfair or looks unfair, and so maybe you have to have some kind of cheats in there as well to make it so you can skim past a block and it changes. Well, that thing's messing me up. So I don't know enough about it. It's possible the dev has had to put in a load of extra special cheats. Oh, this is a classic sort of design. Right, we know the ball's going to fly off left even though it's positioned there, and I think I'm going to have to, I think it's 45 degrees. Let's see if that works. Oh, it wasn't. Okay. I thought I might be able to make it fly up there at 45 degrees. So we've got this frame rate issue again. Not sure why. Yeah, and I'm not sure if some games let you, when you fire the ball, sort of slide and as you fire, sort of move as you fire and then change the angle. Not sure. That would be useful at the beginning to obviously get the ball in different areas. So it did a really low angle last time. So if I see now it went the other side, it's almost random. So that's an odd design decision. I think you'd want it to be the same each time so you can predict the first ball the first brick you can hit, but maybe Maybe the designer thought that was too easy or something. Anyway, it's definitely, you know, fairly polished, this game. It is sort of just fundamentally fun because this sort of mechanic is. It's got a lot of levels, and I love the fact that someone's remade an old game. And I say hats off to the developer and the artist and the musician. And please don't take my critiques too much to heart. They're just my own opinion about a couple of little things. And I think this is only supposed to be a short video, so thanks for watching Secrets of Game Design. Bye for now.